Classwork for Lesson 4-8 in Pathways to Math Literacy for the Math 050 class at Front Range Community College. We've had a number of closures, so we're a little bit behind, and we got everything done except the classwork in our last lesson. So I'm going to go over, using this video, I'll go over adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. Polynomials are any mathematical expression really is a polynomial as long as it only has addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents. If you get into square roots and some of the other functions, we don't consider them polynomials anymore. But what we are looking at here is a polynomial, the addition of two polynomials. One polynomial has three terms. Terms are the things that are added or subtracted. So I have 2x squared as a term, 3x is a term that's being subtracted, or we can think of it as negative 3x, and then negative 10 is a term. That's being added to the polynomial with three terms, 3x squared, 3x, and 5. So when I add those polynomials, if I were to add 5 plus 2 plus 3, and then add the quantity 3 plus 7 plus 1, parentheses tell me to do 5 plus 2 plus 3, which is 10, and then add 3 plus 7 plus 1, which is 11. What we have found, though, is that we can do our 5 plus 2 plus 3. And then add the 3 plus 7 plus 1. We can do the 10 plus 3 to get 13 plus 7 plus 1. And then 13 plus 7 gives us 20. And 20 plus 1 actually gives us 21, which is the same thing as 10 plus 11. So we know we can add things in any order. We don't have to do them in the order that PEMDAS tells us to do them. So that makes our life a little bit easier with adding polynomials because it allows us to combine like terms. Rewriting our problem so that we have like terms makes our life a lot easier. So I'm going to take my problem and rewrite it. 3x squared plus 3x plus 5 plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 10. I'm going to regroup them. 3x squared plus 2x squared plus 3x minus 3x and plus 5 minus 10. And this helps because I have my x squareds with my x squareds. I can't do anything with 2x squared and 3x because I don't know what x is. I have to do my exponent before I can do my addition. And I can't do my exponent because I don't know x. But I do happen to know that if I have 3x squareds and then I have 2 more x squareds, I'll have a total of 5x squared. And likewise, 3x's and then a negative 3x's, or if I have 3x's and I subtract 3x's, I end up with 0x's. So I don't even have to write that. I can just leave that out. And then if I add 5 and I subtract 10, that's really like subtracting 5. So adding Polynomials is really just combining like terms. You are supposed to be thinking about these problems as you do them. There's some instructions there. So pause the video, think about question number 2. When you feel like you have an answer, start the video again, and you can see how I would solve that problem. Okay, now that we're back, we have subtraction now. And if I take that same idea and I do 5 plus 3 plus 2 minus 3 plus 7 plus 1, MDOS now tells me to do 10 minus 11, because I have to do 3 plus 7 plus 1 to get 11 before I subtract. So I actually get negative 1. Okay. If I do that without the parentheses, I do my 5 plus 3 plus 2, I get my 10, and then I do minus 3. If I do minus 3 plus 7 plus 1, 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 plus 7 plus 1, well, now I've got 14 plus 1. This equals 15. It's not the same thing. So if I just take away the parentheses, I get the wrong answer. I can get rid of the parentheses, but I can't do it this way. And the problem is that up here, I was subtracting 3 and 7 and 11. Here, I just subtracted the 3 and then added the 7 and 1 instead of subtracting all 3 of them. To do the same thing, I have to subtract 3 and then subtract 7 and subtract 1. If I do that, 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So I have to subtract everything in the parentheses. And I'm going to do that. That allows me to get rid of the parentheses and still get the same answer. So I have 5x squared plus 3x plus 2 minus x squared. But now I also have to subtract a negative 2x and subtract a 7. I'm subtracting everything inside the parentheses. If I had put everything together and then subtracted, I would have ended up subtracting everything inside the parentheses. To get rid of the parentheses, that's what I do. I subtract everything inside the parentheses. Now I'm going to rearrange this. 5x squared minus x squared plus 3x minus a negative. We have found that is the same as plus 2x. If I take away a negative 2x, it does the same thing as if I add back 2x. So I'm going to do it that way. And then plus 2 and minus 7. If I have 5x squareds, I take away 1. I just have 4x squareds. If I have 3 x's and I add 2 x's, I'll have a total of 5 x's. And then if I have 2 minus 7, I actually end up taking away 5. Add 2, take away 7, I've really taken away 5. Okay. Pause the video real quick and take a look at problem 4. Actually, problem 3. See if you can come up with an answer to problem 3, and then come back to the video and see if you get the same thing that I get. Okay, now that you have looked at question number 3, question number 3 is different. We've done problems like this: 5 times 3 plus 2. According to the PEMDAS, that's actually 5 times 5 because we add first. And then we've looked at what happens when we do 5 times 3 plus 2. According to PEMDAS, that is 15 because we do the multiplication first and then we add the 2. That's actually 17, which is different. If we want to get the same answer, we have to do 5 times 3. Okay. Let me clean this up. 5 times 3. And then we also have to multiply the 5 times the 2. If I had added the 2 and 3 together, I would really end up multiplying the 5 times both of them. So I can do 5 times 3 to get 15. I can do 5 times 2 to get my 10. And I end up with that same 25. So if I want something that's equivalent to this, I have to multiply the 5 times both of them. We can multiply first before we add, as long as we multiply both things. It's an exception to PEMDAS. PEMDAS says add first. When you're working with variables, though, you usually don't have that option. So I'm going to take my 3 first of all. And in order to combine like terms, I have to get rid of the parentheses. Getting rid of those parentheses requires me to multiply 3 times everything inside. So I have 3x squared plus, a lot of times we draw the lines to show where we're multiplying. I've had people draw the lines on the test and then not multiply. You want to understand those lines are telling you where to multiply. I also have to multiply 3 times 5. Same thing with this polynomial. I have to multiply 2 times x squared. Actually, I don't need the parentheses now. That's the whole point of this. And I also do 2 times a negative 3x, or I'm subtracting 2 times 3x, which is 6x. And then I also have to subtract 2 times 10, which is 20. So now I have my polynomial, or my sum of polynomials. I have it without the parentheses, and I can rearrange it now so that I can combine the like terms. I have to add 9x and subtract 6x, and then I add 15. I subtract 20. So I have 5x squared plus 6x minus 5. Try number 4. Number 4, basically same thing as number 3, except now we're subtracting, so we're going to have to use the same ideas we used in question 2. Take a look at that. When you are ready, start the next video. I'm going to have to shut this video down so that I can keep it in the right size. So start the next video when you're ready to do number 4. Thank you.